By this time of the year, your Monica's closet is probably busting at the seam. And if you're anything like me, you have piles of just random stuff around your classroom that you just don't know what to do with. Well, it's time for some classroom spring cleaning. I've got 3 easy steps to help us refresh our space. If you're new here, I'm Rachel Vincent, and I love sharing ways to help simplify your classroom and your teaching. And today we're focusing on our physical space, our classrooms. We all know that clutter and messiness can affect us psychologically. Like, it is proven that clutter raises our cortisol levels, and cortisol is the stress hormone. We really don't need higher stress levels at school already because our cortisol levels are probably already through the roof. We also know that teachers can be somewhat of pack rats because you just never know when you might need it. This first step in refreshing our classroom space is to declutter. I like to find spaces to start with first. I typically do whatever space is stressing me out the most. If I'm being honest, everything in my classroom is stressing me out because it is my first year in a new space. And of course, like what I try to do at the beginning of the year hasn't always worked or hasn't continued to work throughout the year. And it's just time to go through and fix the things that just aren't really working. Starting with decluttering, there are so many things that come into our classroom over the years, and if we don't have a place for it to go, we just kind of stick it somewhere. And so that's one of the things to do, go through, do I need to get rid of this? Does it go somewhere else? One of the ways I decide if I need to keep it is deciding, like, is this worth managing? Is this little trinket like worth figuring out what to do with? Do I have a place for it? If I have a place for it, then I just need to go put it away. But if I'm like, what is this? Why do I have it? It just needs to go in the trash. So sometimes when I'm doing like a big purge, maybe I'm moving classrooms, kind of what I did the year before, is I decide, what am I keeping? What am I tossing? What can I donate? What can I sell on Facebook Marketplace? I did a lot of that last year, so I've pared a lot down. But as you're going through things, and if you find something you're like, I forgot I had this, then if you forgot about it, is it worth keeping? Is it something that you think, I'm gonna use this in the next few months because I forgot I had it? Or is it something that's like, okay, it's time to let that go? But in reality, like, if you're not doing this deep dive, deep declutter session, just all this sort of surface level stuff, just going through the counter and cleaning stuff up, putting it back where it goes, you know, the science materials that you use, let's put them away. Let's clean off this bin. Let's file the papers that are in our to file thing so we have more space to put new papers. Like, just kind of that refresh spring cleaning time, just to kind of reset our space, not only to help us get through these last few months of school, but also to make packing up our classroom at the end of the year a little bit easier. The next thing to do is to organize your space. I typically save like organizing for right before school starts, but that's such a stressful time. I'm like, why don't I start working on it now? Taking the time to do it now will set me up for success in a better way. Mostly because what's fresh in my mind now of how things function in this classroom at this point in the year, it's a lot easier to figure it out than when I'm coming off of like summer break and I have forgotten everything. I know one of my biggest areas is my storage closet. I am very thankful that I have so much space for storage in this classroom, but it's my first year in this classroom. My last space had lots of storage as well, but the dimensions and everything is just slightly different. And so it didn't quite fit the same way. So I had to like figure it out. And while it looks neat and organized, I don't know where everything is. Like, I struggle finding things in the middle of class when I'm like, oh yeah, I have math manipulatives for this. And so then I have to go and try and find it and I can't find them. Like, at the beginning of the year, trying to find my dice took me probably 2 days because I had no idea what I did with them. So I want to go through and kind of reorganize some of the stuff that just kind of has been shoved in here over the year, but also make a list and figure I need to make labels for these things so it's easier to find my stuff. Not only will it be easier to find things, it makes it easier to put away if I know where everything is going. I also want to go ahead and start working on my beginning of the year tub. I have these scrapbook boxes that would be perfect for the copies that I want to make in a few months. I like to make my copies for the beginning of the year at the end of the year. And so I want to make sure I have space for those to go, space for like all the different activities and games that kind of take up more space than just like a file. So I'm going to work on that as well as part of my organization. The next thing to do is just to refresh your classroom decor. This time of the year, things are probably starting to fall off the wall. Maybe you've had the same bulletin board up all year and you're just ready for something new. You want to give yourself something fresh to look at because it can be hard to want to come into the classroom this time of the year year. So just refreshing your walls and decor. I know if it's falling off the wall and I'm about to take it off in a few weeks for state testing, I'm probably not gonna fix it, being honest. I do know that like my place value chart has the hot glue started peeling off, but I'm gonna leave that up and just cover it for state testing. So I'm gonna make sure I fix that. Just sort of maybe wipe down my boards, take down some student work that's been up there for a while, refresh that, just kind of make our space just a little bit more exciting to finish out these last few months of school. Part of my decluttering is going to go through some of my classroom posters and see if there's any ones that I want to pull out. I do have a lot of just like cute sayings that I want to have up for our state testing since we can't have academic stuff on the wall. So I want to kind of go through that and see what all I can go ahead and start putting up or have a plan to put up when it's closer to state testing time, just to make our space still inviting for those tough few weeks of state testing. I know I need to organize and clean up these piles around my desk, declutter, get rid of things, little things, gifts that students have given me. One of the things I like to do is every so often go through and take down all of the pictures and drawings and things that students have given me when it's kind of full and place it in my keep box. It helps to refresh the space, but also encourage students to continue giving me things and it doesn't get lost in the look of things. As things have come into the classroom, decide, do I need to keep it? Do I need to get rid of it? Does it need to go in a different place? Sometimes decluttering can just feel overwhelming, and it's best to just tackle one space at a time so you're not getting overwhelmed. So think of that one area in your classroom that is just the sort of bane of your existence. Maybe tackle that one if you're feeling up to it, or even picking a place that you're like, it's fine, but it could be better, and going after that one. A lot of times our teacher space is the area that we really need to probably focus on because we spend a lot of time there and it probably has the most items in it. So if you'd like to see how I organize my teacher space, check out the video that's on your screen now.